Had Dawn on Twitter ask us about this song, and yes, this is the Madrone Brothers. Our friend Morgan. Yeah, that's right. We didn't have the rights to Divine Intervention. That was Matthew Sweet. I only knew about that song when I was because in 1991 I was out doing on-site promotions for TDK, the tape company, to try to fend off the incoming CD assault. So
Big CD was
big CD. We were
taking
telling them
over.
the TDK tapes sounded better than CDs, and we'd had people do the TDK challenge outside of right out in the lobby area of concerts. And if they got it right, they could tell which was TDK and which was the CD. Then they'd get a TDK challenge T-shirt.
Wow.
Which, since I had boxes of T-shirts, had like every drunkard stoner in Winchester having a TDK challenge T-shirt who didn't like matriculate to college. They were just like hanging out. And that's where I saw the Bodines featuring Matthew Sweet, and they gave me the EP of that song. That's Divine Intervention with a great guitar hook.
And what else happened with that? When people wanted the T-shirt and you didn't want to provide it.
That was the what was it?
Without the challenge.
That was Me, Myself, and I. Was that Soul to Soul? Whoever did Me, Myself, and I, the song at that point, they wanted the shirts. This was at Northeastern University. It was that like rap hip hop group. Then the people who wanted the shirts from us urinated on us from the staircase above us. And then encroached further. This was like a Benghazi siege on us, on our, our little
as you
garrison.
defended the integrity of the TDK challenge.
Yeah, and we got out of there with we had to like throw the shirts at them. We got out of there with the CD player that did the TDK challenge, and like the fake mannequin where you rested the headphones, and we ran like hell. And that was it's not a great moment for, not a great moment. I'll just say it wasn't a great moment. That's it.
Sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, I know. It was, well, I didn't care. It wasn't like it was a great moment. I didn't care. I was like 18. I was so thrilled to be out of high school.
De La Soul, somebody said.
De La Soul, that's right. Yeah. And they took the T-shirts. And so I was so thrilled to be out of high school. I was just, whatever. I was into Chaos of the World, but it wasn't it was my first intro into the fan base of hip hop. Uh-huh. And so being a kid from Winchester, Massachusetts, I think maybe I went from hot to cold pretty quickly there. And but it's all fine. It's all fine. That's the last time I've been pissed on, I think. You never know. But if you ever get to do on-site promotions, it's very interesting. A whole world of stuff happens. It's really crazy because it's like
really selling it. It sounds fun.
It's a really gig. Well, especially doing on-site promotions in 1991 for cassette tapes, taking a stand against CDs, which is like really it's such a footnote and like piece of history where. In fact, Alice, the CDs did sound better. I can say now, guys.
You're free from your non-disclosure agreement.
I'm free, but my dad was thrilled to have 500,000 free TDK challenge T-shirts because he's also a thief like me. That said, and I loved crowds and I loved chaos when I was a young kid because, like I said, I had Wanderlust and I was like, all right, let's see what happens here. So. Which brings me to like crowds and chaos now that I'm 51. Unbelievably, 51. That is ridiculous. I do not have I was looking today at IQ because there's a bunch of things on social media talking about like if you have this IQ, you're this smart. I do not have a high IQ, or at least when I started to take the test. And was like flunking in 1999 with my computer. I was like, I don't know any of these answers, and so I like bailed out. I'm like, I can't. I need to have the delusion that I'm really smart. I need that. That's my thing. That I'm going to have this delusion, and it's going to carry me through. But so I'm not sure where I brought that up. So anyway,
Crowds and chaos.
Crowds and chaos. It is interesting. So we saw tonight. We at our daughter's play today. This has been a weekend full of plays and chaos.
Yeah, we've been to 5 plays this weekend.
Right. And so, we met one of my daughter's former teachers, who's a fan of the show, and her husband. Great people. Great. We're not going to name them because just in case, because of the way the world is, and we're about to attack the teachers unions big time. Well, I am. But anyway, she's just awesome, and her husband's a great guy, etc. But so since it's funny because you don't know how to be all the time, and in our town we have parents who are people we know in and around our town are parents of our kids' friends in school, or sometimes parents who they play sports with.
Right.
And then there's others, but there's also a lot of familiar faces. So when she came up and said hello, I wasn't sure. I was like, what parent is it? Then it occurred to me really quickly, oh, no, she was a fan of the show, and then subsequently became my daughter's English teacher. But it is interesting because when people come up and say hi, in these days, especially like if somebody says hi to me and it's like extracurricular something, it's very different the approach. Because if somebody's saying hi because of like they know me or remember me from the Boston Herald and kind of from the Michael Graham show, whatever, then that's a relationship. That's one relationship. Somebody says hi from WTIC, from the radio show, that's another relationship. And usually we immediately will skip into the themes of what we talk about in WTIC. What's new and different for us, and I don't know if it's new, but is that if somebody's saying hi to us because of the burn barrel, then that's a different thing because they know us.
Right, it's very intimate.
It's very intimate. like really intimate. And so they've known us, even though sometimes we've only known them for a short amount of time, or 1 or 2 years, or a week, or like just that instant. They've known us for a long time.
Right.
And so it creates an honesty in the back and forth, because look, what usually if I'm just another parent of whose kid plays soccer with my kid, whatever, and I'm obviously socially awkward, and so are you, pretty much, that I'm looking to find an off ramp or just make it as painless as possible. I don't know how to be, and like, what would people say? What do people say? I guess. I don't know. Like sometimes people bring up that it's wow. I guess we don't have winters anymore, and it's too bad. And if they're just somebody in the sports team, like I'm like, oh, yeah, things have changed. Well, like just hoping it'll be over with. But with the burn barrel people, these are people who really know us, and you can't BS them because we've been saying the real thing forever, and they know all the stuff that's happened. They can see that I have a dent in my forehead because my wife threw her phone on my forehead. Like, it's all real. Which brings me to this, Alice.
Okay.
Are you ready? You look really pretty today, by the way.
Thank you. It's exhaustion.
You wear it well, dude.
Thank you.
I have a friend of mine who was always attractive. She's my best friend's wife. She's always been attractive. But forever, since the 90s, since we were all 23, she's always been pretty. And you guys know who her friend, they listen to their family listens. But since the 90s, she always looked like absolutely gorgeous when she was crying. And it's a weird thing. And I would tell her, it's not like the last thing you want to hear. Like she was, in particular, one time saying, like to her husband, can you just stop, like, for the 18th night in a row at 22 years old, can you just hang out with me and not be drinking with your idiot friend over there for one time, like they were newlyweds? And she was like crying one time saying this to him. She was exasperated because I managed to make sure that he was as irresponsible as possible. And I remember saying that to her at the time, saying, wow, you look so pretty when you're upset. Which is not what she probably wanted to hear, but maybe it is what she wanted to hear. But anyway, you look good tired and haggard. You wear it well. Okay. 2 other points of business.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Well, are we almost ready to
You
start
were
the
just
show? We're like 10
you were
minutes.
slightly prettier there, too.
We're like 10 minutes in.
Okay, I've got a psychological
Okay.
question for you.
Okay.
This is the editor's podcast, meaning the National Review editor's podcast.
Okay.
The old Bill Buckley vehicle, Alice. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Rich Lowry's the editor,
Mm-hmm.
and he brings up a topic, and I want you to listen to his pronunciation.
Just after we'd finished recording our first episode of the week, where everyone was cautiously optimistic about how mainstream the Trump nominees were, we had Pete Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard, Matt Gaetz, and RFK Jr. We're going to bracket.
You heard that, right?
Yeah.
What did you hear?
They had been cautiously optimistic because Trump's picks were all mainstream, and then right after they recorded, he announced Pete Hegseth, Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah, but
Matt
what did Rich
Gaetz,
Lowry say?
that he was cautiously optimistic.
No. You picked up on it before the show.
Our first episode of the week, where everyone was cautiously optimistic about how mainstream the Trump nominees were. We had Pete Hegseth,
Oh,
Tulsi
Hegseth
Gabbard,
versus Hegseth?
Matt
Right.
Gaetz, and
Pete Hegseth.
Okay. He says his
RFK
name wrong?
Jr. We're going to bracket RFK Jr. and devote an entire segment to him in due course here. But let's talk about what we've seen. Hegseth, I'll just give my quick takes. Hegseth.
So he goes on to say Hegseth 84 more times during the show. So this is my question for you psychologically. And I have heard Rich Lowry do this with Chipotle.
Oh, I hate that.
So do I. I feel like it's like
It's
a
up
really
there with espresso.
totally a nuclear, yes. So he does this 84 times. Rich Lowry, this is a smart guy. You know, like William F. Buckley said, you're going to be my heir. Fine. The other 4 guys all pronounce Hegseth when it's their time. None of the guys
Correct him.
ever, for an hour and 3 minutes, Rich Lowry is saying Hegseth. None of them corrects him at all. Why is that?
Do you think they did at some point offline and like he just decided he's going to pronounce it the way he's going to pronounce it?
We're not really speculating as to what other scenes there could have been.
I mean, but we're speculating as to why
they
you
know
think
he's saying it wrong.
But maybe he knows he's saying it wrong too.
So you know what I'm going to do today? To what end?
But like, wouldn't somebody say something?
Apparently not. Now, why not?
But because he's the editor? I mean, like...
Because he's the boss. You think maybe because he's the boss? No, that's one thing you could do. But then again, if you're I'm sure that Rich Lowry has gotten 34,000 emails now saying, by the way...
Who's Hegseth?
Yeah, who's Hegseth? And to which you think he would say to his crew, guys, was I saying it wrong the whole time? So...
But they were saying it right, so wouldn't...
But also, if they were trying to appease the boss, what's the good weasel move to make?
I don't know.
Is to pronounce it Hegseth.
Oh.
Well, right, Rich. I was just saying that Pete Hegseth has no experience in the field.
But maybe saying Hegseth is like a subtle, like...
Yeah, but that's the way it's...
Hey, by the way, you're saying it wrong.
Right. Well, it's not subtle enough because he never got it through the whole show.
But how is that possible? That's why I say,
Too
like,
subtle.
how could he not realize if they were all saying it the other way?
Because it never helped him out.
But doesn't he hear
I don't know.
what they're saying?
So is that...
Because if he really thought it was that, then
Right.
wouldn't he say, why are you guys all saying it Hegseth?
Right. That's a good point. He never does. They just say Hegseth. And he just does his thing. Which makes me think that maybe... Could this be a disability?
Maybe that's why people misinterpreted his word of migrants into
Right.
immigrants and thought he was saying the N-word? Like, did he just
Wait,
have
maybe
a
he
problem?
was saying the N-word now.
You think Rich Lowry just is incapable of saying Hexeth?
Maybe. We talk about the glottal stop.
I mean, but like, surely people must have told George W. Bush it was pronounced nuclear, right?
Yes.
And he just obviously either didn't care or couldn't say that.
But he was also, in his own way, a dumbass. Rich Lowry is not. I don't know. And I wonder if it's a condition or what it, like, I never understand. But I noticed the commentary podcast where they do pronounce things correctly, but when Podhoretz gets it wrong, nobody corrects him. Nobody corrects him whatsoever. So if he says something egregiously wrong, like when when O.J. Simpson killed, he never said this. I don't want to attribute it to him, but he says stuff. He gets names wrong, etc. And nobody says anything. I think that to them is like the expediency. Should I be calling James?
Yes, please. He said he would listen for the baby and grab him, but
okay. Hold on 1 second. Okay.
Why did you say on Twitter that there's shocking Alice Shattuck news?
Well, I'll tell you in a moment.
Because I don't know about any shocking news to do with me.
I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna call your son.
Okay.
There's no way he didn't hear me. Just yell to him though.
He feels put upon this weekend.
I know it is. Hey, can you help, please? Thank you. There's a milk down there. Thank you. Okay. And so let's okay, but we'll just leave that alone, okay?
Okay.
So the other thing that I found, and I watched all the Sunday shows. You were
touch that thing.
Oh, touch this thing.
Yeah.
You were too busy. Check one. Check one.
Check. Okay, I think it sounds okay.
Okay, so you were too busy, with Oh no, it's not okay. Check one. Check one. Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
I typically don't just bang. I try and like separate it from
Check
the
1 2.
out a little bit.
Yeah, how's it looking?
I still hear the noise.
You hear the noise.
Yes.
Check one. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Check.
Check.
I think that's better. I think
one.
that's better. I think. Is it really loud now though? Oh.
It's not loud for me. Check
okay,
one.
I think you just
Hello?
readjusted my headphones, but that's okay.
Oh, okay.
Don't bother.
Okay. So, all right. And that gets me to. By the way, if what we think is true, this problem will be a former problem quite soon.
Okay.
Okay. Check. But I do hear a little bit of shit on there too. So here's the other thing. If you watch the Sunday shows, it is exactly what you'd think it would be. End of the world. Oh my goodness. It is as extreme as possible. Here we go. This is This Week with George Stephanopoulos. This is not George Stephanopoulos, though. What's her name's in? Martha Raddatz is in. It's Doomsday.
This Week with George Stephanopoulos starts right now.
The Retribution Begins.
Hear that?
We're going to clean out the corrupt, broken, and failing bureaucracies.
The president-elect sparking alarm with controversial cabinet nominees, including a firebrand Fox TV host to lead the Department of Defense.
I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles.
Noted vaccine skeptic Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for Health and Human Services Secretary.
He wants to make people healthy. It's driven him pretty wild over the last number of years.
And ardent Trump loyalist, now former Congressman Matt Gaetz, to run the Justice Department.
He's got a real estate deal to get lots of votes, including mine.
Democratic Senator-elect Alyssa Slotkin responds to the nominations, plus former CDC Director Richard Besser, former prosecutor Preet Bharara, and analysis from our Powerhouse Roundtable. Plus,
we pay some of the highest wages for farm workers in the nation, right here in California, and they won't come out.
We travel to California farmland to see what Trump's massive deportation plans could mean for farmers and the nation's food supply. Texas Republican Tony Gonzalez joins us for reaction.
From ABC News, it's
So you get it. The Retribution Begins. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. So that's what it was the whole time. It was Pearl Clutching. Oh my goodness, all the channels, all the same thing. And it's like, oh my god, what are we gonna now? And I thought about this, and I agree that like these nominations to me I was kind of shocked by a couple of them, and thinking like RFK, you kidding me? Like you're putting the guy who hates all this bureaucracy in charge of it. The Gates one is like,
I think the Gates one might be tough to get through.
Well, I think a lot of them might be, but like what's happening here is we're seeing something totally new. Like they are the people you saw around Donald Trump at the UFC fight last night. Like those are seriously the people he's putting around him.
Right.
But
that's also, I mean, I think that that UFC fight thing also was tons of like optimism, positivity.
Totally
like,
agree.
Great for America.
Totally agree. But it is new, and we're told that when they want to make radical change, that's absolutely fine and whatever. You know, and like what are you talking about? What are you talking about, Rachel Levine? What are you talking about, Sam Brinton? What do you mean? When they talk about like all the stuff, how terrible Biden was, and they normalized it and just and kneaded it and rolled it, massaged it, so it was absolutely fine. What do you mean? They were strapping people at the border. What are you talking? Like all the things that they did, and they said no, inflation is it's a rich person's problem. Stop complaining. There's not inflation. Okay, fine. There could be, it's transitory, but the price is going to come down. 4th of July is going to be all this stuff. It's like that's all the experts that came together and gave us all this pile of F. In the same way, when like all their greatest people, all the most normalized people, all the most disciplined people who were nice and sober and thoughtful bureaucrats and could lead these cabinet agencies, all the best ones sucked.
Right.
Hell, they were the worst there ever was. And so, I am like new and blown away and like a little bit to some of these in the Trump. But how freaking worse can it be than the expert class and the elites?
Oh, right. They put Buttigieg in charge of transportation because he
totally.
liked trains. I mean, like, there's no requirements. I mean, really, JFK put his little brother as AG.
Well, sure, and that was a bit ago. And
I mean, I know it was a bit ago, but it wasn't that long ago. Like,
but they normalized everything. They played these sound cuts like this one, Alice, and told us when Buttigieg was in there, and told us, what do you mean? There's nothing wrong with this.
If an underpass was constructed such that a bus carrying mostly Black and Puerto Rican kids to a beach, or that would have been, in New York was designed too low for it to pass by, that obviously reflects racism that went into those design choices. I don't think we have anything to lose by confronting that simple reality, and I think we have everything to gain by acknowledging it and then dealing with it, which is why the Reconnecting Communities, that $1 billion, is something we want to get to work right away.
There's nobody who's going to be that radical in the Trump administration. Like, what are you freaking saying? Like, do your job, dude. What are you, racist bridges? Are you freaking kidding me? And so they're saying, oh my goodness, no, Matt Gaetz, RFK, Pete Hesketh doesn't know what he's doing, because he's a Fox News host and he was only had 2 tours and never had managed something as big. Well, if that standard's okay, then F you. I'll take him. I don't know what the DNI really does. I know that they get a lot of intel. But Tulsi Gabbard, and I keep getting told, by the way, that she met with Assad and supposedly she believed him over our intel services. Well,
but did you enjoy that Rogan and Barry Weiss clip?
This is when she is drilling him, right? Is this going to take us off topic?
No, it's about Tulsi Gabbard.
I know it's not about Tulsi Gabbard, but is this going to take us off topic because it's Barry Weiss slamming her? Is it?
Well, because she was slamming her, but then Joe Rogan asked her a couple simple questions and she had no answers for them, was the point of it.
Okay, sorry. I thought it was just then I got it wrong. I thought it was just Barry Weiss slamming her. I didn't see.
Well, she was slamming her, but Rogan was like, she said she's an Assad toady.
Right.
And Rogan was like, what do you mean she's an Assad toady? And then she had him look up the word toady because she wasn't even sure she used it right. And then she was like, well, I don't know. I haven't looked into it. She had like no actual answer because Rogan was like, but I like her though. And she didn't have anything.
Okay, let me put that on.
Kirsten Gillibrand. Oh, monstrous. Ideas.
Well, when she was 22, she had...
No, she's an Assad toady.
What does that mean?
She is
What's a toady?
I think that I used that word correctly. Jamie, can you check what toady means?
Like towing the line? Is that what it means?
No, I think it's like a... Toadie.
What does that mean?
I think it means what I think it means.
Toady. Definition of toadies. A person who flatters or defers to others for self-serving reasons.
A sycophant.
So she's an Assad sycophant. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's known about her.
Like, what did she say that
we have to look.
her?
I don't remember the details.
We probably should say that before we say that about her. We should probably read it rather.
Well, I have read it.
No, I mean we should right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Just so we know what she said.
Look up
I've had her
Tulsi
on
Gabbard.
here before.
Look
and
up
I really enjoyed talking to her. I like her a lot.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I like talking to her.
Okay.
I like talking to her. I don't know about.
I think she's like the mother lode of bad ideas.
Whoa.
I'm pretty positive about that, especially on Assad. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong.
Well, my take on her was that I think as a person who's coming from the left, who's also a veteran and is very articulate and sensible and a woman, and in talking to her, we didn't get into Assad or any of those things, but talking to her about what she feels is wrong with the current administration and the way things are running and a direction she thinks things could go in. She had some very promising ideas. I didn't know about this.
But doesn't she also, did she ever apologize for believing in conversion therapy?
I didn't even know she believed in conversion therapy.
Am I crazy?
I bet you Barry Weiss has a new answer now since she's been mainstream.
I mean, yeah, but it's not a good look to like go around on huge podcast, by the way, slamming Tulsi Gabbard.
Right,
and
this
not
is old,
know,
though. You should
not know why, though. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, and that's a great point you make. The same way they're slamming Hesketh, and the same way they're...
But yeah, none of these people knows anything about any of these people.
No,
they don't have any...
Right.
Like, real reasons except they know that these are bad, unacceptable people.
Exactly.
So, and I think that that's like endemic on the left, right? Is that they've been told that these are bad, unacceptable people and it's not okay that they're running things. But like you say about Buttigieg or Rachel Levine or Lloyd Austin, who like took a month off without telling anyone or any of these things, like there is no reason to think that these people, just because they're left wing, are more competent than Trump's people. You know, the media is not on Trump's team, so they're going to cast all of his choices as outrageous and terrible. And you can see it because even like the Pete Hegseth thing, if he's so bad, then why do they have to lie? Why do they have to go on TV and claim that he's a white supremacist and he has white supremacist tattoos? Because he has a Jerusalem cross and his arm says Deus Vult on it, right? Like, what? You don't have to make stuff up about people. The guy's not a white supremacist. I don't know what you need to hear. That's not really his thing. But the fact that they have to smear people and lie like this and act like... But you see it even like on The View, right? You see them on The View being like, can you believe he picked Pete Hegseth, a morning show host, to run the Department of Defense? Because they don't know anything about him. Just like Barry Weiss didn't really know anything about Tulsi Gabbard except that she was supposed to believe she was terrible, right? And just like they don't know anything about any of these people. Even RFK Jr., like they don't know why they're mad at RFK Jr.
I agree with that.
They don't know anything about any of it, and like they've just been told to believe that they're terrible. And I will say that it does muddy the waters, frankly, as a person who, like, Matt Gaetz probably wouldn't be my first choice, but I mean, it like you can't tell what's a legitimate concern about somebody or not because they're running around like they're chickens with their heads cut off about totally acceptable people like Pete Hegseth and telling me he's a white supremacist. I can't believe anything you say. So there's nowhere rational to turn for a normal conversation where you can say like, well, I like this guy and this guy, but this guy's a little fringy. I don't know about him. Like, because nobody's being honest about any of it. They're just going to say anyone Trump picks. And you saw it because you saw them wig out about Pete Hegseth, who was announced first before like Tulsi or RFK Jr. And then he announced Tulsi and RFK Jr. and they immediately went to, well, Pete Hegseth's okay, but these other two, they're really bad. Like, well, how am I supposed to believe anything you say about any of this?
The people remember Hillary Clinton was saying that Tulsi was a Russian operative, which local media, like Dan Kennedy, etc., Sue O'Connell, all agreed, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. She is. Yeah,
I mean, if she's a Russian spy, maybe they should like report that to the FBI or something.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, they said this stuff, they just throw it out there. They've got no credibility whatsoever. And like the people, like they claim that people like Mark Milley was in the Pentagon for a long time. He was as the Secretary of Defense. He was somebody who was deeply involved in all this stuff for a long time. It's like,
yeah, that's what we don't want. Actually,
that's exactly right.
First of all, on the issue of critical race theory, et cetera, I'll obviously have to get much smarter on whatever the theory is. But I do think it's important, actually, for those of us in uniform to be open-minded and be widely read. And the United States Military Academy is a university. And it is important that we train and we understand. And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white, and I want to understand it. So what is it that caused thousands of people to assault this building and try to overturn the Constitution of the United States of America?
The moment he says that, he is no longer a credible, viable person. The moment you say that, and he says to talk about like white rage, like how fucking dare you adopt the vernacular of the left as legitimate? So I want to understand white rage, and it's such a move, and that's why people hate guys like him who were in D.C. their whole lives, because it's such a move to give a tongue bath to the incoming administration and the left movement, so that you are, persona moi grata in the Beltway. So people are toasting you, the toast of the town. Look, he's military, but he's woke too. And it's like, I heard Deborah Burks was on one of the shows today, and she's like, people, I do worry about RFK Jr. because we still need to trust in our institutions. We need to make sure that there is still
say the people who like most undermine the institutions out of anybody in the last 100 years.
You just sold us all out during COVID. Told us to get out there in Black Lives Matter and join in the destruction, in the riots, which the other institution, the media, told us were mostly peaceful, which it obviously wasn't. It was terrible. So you told us. You sold us out in front of us. You know who hasn't sold me out in front of him? Is RFK Jr. Not yet. Hasn't done it. And like you guys did this, and you wonder now you're saying no, okay, now you really need to. We need to have institutions. No, at the one time in the last 100 years when we really, really, really needed our government bureaucrats, the state, to not be fucking around was COVID, and they used that opportunity to fuck around at such a level that not only did people freaking die, not necessarily, but you destroyed a generation of kids, and you effed this country forever. There are insane people walking around freaking masks on right now because you use psychos. So don't tell me that, like, Matt Gaetz might be crazy. No, when you were given the most pivotal moment in our last 100 years, you fucked it up. Just for your own goddamn careers.
Well, right. And like you say, it does have to do with their careers, but also like with the right people liking them. It's such a click thing, and you can see it in people like Milley and Burks and even like these generals. It's the same thing because they want praise of people saying they're like well-respected, great generals. And who's the guy, the suckers and losers guy?
Is that Mattis?
Yeah,
Mattis
or Kelly, one of the whoever. But they want this praise from people saying like, these are the people who put country over party. They're so great. All this stuff like these because they know that if they're just a regular general, that they're not going to get that praise from people on the left who, by the way, run all the late night shows, all the cocktail parties, all the fun stuff that you get invited to.
And that's why they use the right words. Like we have a friend who works for a very progressive, huge institution around here, and it has been taken over with wokeism, big time, totally. And he told us, and he was in a meeting, and he feels terribly ashamed by this, but he said somebody in the huge meeting of all the woke people, whatever, said this, that, and whatever about something happening in the news, and he said, I'm just sick of old white guys. And he said it, and he felt guilty and dirty for saying it immediately. But that's the kind of thing you have to say to win friends during the tsunami of progressivism, and have people think you're so he's one of the he's
one of the good ones.
Yeah, he doesn't have pronouns in his bio, but still he's one of the good ones. And that's what that is. It's a total selling out, and it was so important for them to gain acceptance at that time. And like that's one of the things that's like now. That's why it's such a it's receded in many ways, and it's like so amazing that you've got all these people at the UFC fight with Trump now. Is such an F-you to that. It's an F-you to that. And that's what RFK is. It's like, okay, you guys, all of you guys in the institutions, Anthony Fauci, who did magazine shoots during COVID where people were dying in his sunglasses, Francis Collins, who danced around with his psychotic wife singing Puff the Magic COVID. Like, you told us that they were the best, and they had money and made money from the whole COVID thing, and they were covering up, etc., and just effing around. These people are common freaking whores first, activists second, and like their over-credentialed BS is far near the bottom. And that's, back to my TDK challenge stuff, it is like everybody wanted a t-shirt, and it doesn't matter how credentialed you are. You get the soft free T-shirt or the soft glow of media hits with your name. You get one of those Google alerts. I am a low-level, bottom-feeding whore, and I get Google alerts saying Tom Shattuck, and I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. Unfortunately, it's almost always the fact that Odyssey runs news content, and my name's in Odyssey because I work for the company that I'm grabbed up there, and it's nothing. One thing about this whore is I'm telling you I'm a whore. It's different. It's a totally different thing. But these people are absolutely, now how dare they say, well, we have to believe in institutions. F you. No. We're putting this guy in. The guy who despised you the whole time, RFK, I'm sorry, has a better reputation. He's got a better track record than you. And I don't care how many whales' heads or freaking bear carcasses he ate in the side of the road. I don't care. And I'm sorry that he was an awful cad with a diary of chicks he banged and his wife killed herself in this. He's still better than what you people did. He is. True. I'm sorry. And Matt Gaetz is a dickhead. And I don't know what he did with like paying for sex and this and the. Who knows? Who knows? One, I can tell you one thing. It ain't new to Washington, D.C. It's been happening for quite a long time. Two, he didn't do what the Department of Justice did under this guy and Obama. So don't tell me. I don't like his Wile E. Coyote look either. And his spiked hair. And I'm worried that they say he does a lot of Botox at a guy. Whatever. He didn't F us over. He didn't pull this crap. And that's the same. That was always the reason for Trump. It's like Trump might have done a lot of things, but while you guys were effing us over, pushing us into freaking Obamacare, all of the follies that you were part of, that guy was building golf courses. It wasn't him.
Right.
It was you guys. So they're, but it is weird to see like this new flock of people. Like these people are actually, a lot of them are actually be doing the thing. And what we could have, I mean, it's going to be, there already has been in the Sunday shows. The coverage is going to be terrible. The Retribution tour is on, so you're going to see what Donald Trump wants to deport migrants, and they're going to find the most lovable migrants in the face of the earth. Who are scared, and that's what they're doing right now.
Probably ones who voted for Trump so that they can feel a little bit superior too while they're interviewing. Didn't you listen to his rhetoric and think he might deport you too?
But yeah, totally. And actually, most of these migrants still like Trump.
Probably.
But that's like the thing is like it's a brave new world. Like in a lot of ways, it is. Stuff is new now. Yeah, you have like all of these headliners, marquee people who are running things, and I'm for it. Let's see what happens. Absolutely. I'm used to convention. I'm 51, so I've been usually used to seeing things. The next boring bureaucrat fills in for the next boring bureaucrat. But our boring bureaucrats have become more incompetent than ever.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take it. It's a brave new world. I am. It's a brave new world in the sense I am married to somebody who logs her orgasms. Now,
Excuse me.
this is the world. Now, this is if you ever told me that was a thing that ever could be, it's the thing.
Why am I being outed right now?
I am along for the ride. Okay? The world is new and advanced in ways that I'll never know. I don't know why that database is needed or why somebody around me is part of that. I do hope to God it gets hacked into.
I track my cycle. It has a spot for that. That's like a checkbox.
Alice, no, just don't. Has a spot for that. Jeez.
I take my temperature. I log how I'm feeling that day, what I ate, how much water I drank.
I would say that probably the take your temperature and how much water you're drinking are not the lead that you're burying here.
Leave me alone.
Like, where is that
I'm
information?
trying to take care of my health, okay?
Wow. This is up to 7 orgasms. What is that even?
I put all my health information so that I can keep track of how I'm feeling. And
oh, there is such a like the odd, weird, nerd, fat guy totally made this app. He's like, I wonder if I can get them to like put in their orgasms. That'd be something. Did you submit a headshot too?
No.
Mm-hmm. Who knows? Oh God, that would be too personal, right? What a world.
I do want to touch quickly on one news story that's not on the Sunday shows, according to Tom, who watched them all. But I think is like possibly the most important story going on in the country right now. And it's that in Pennsylvania, the officials there, the election officials, are actively trying to steal the Senate election. So the Pennsylvania presidential race is like too far apart to shift it with cheating. But the Senate race is closer with Bob Casey and McCormick there. And McCormick has been pronounced the winner by everybody. And they have all these like provisional ballots, right? So what happens is if like you go to vote and you're not registered and like they have to fix it and they're not sure if your vote should count or not, they let you cast a provisional ballot. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And so what happened is they had all these provisional ballots, many of which are for a Democrat, Bob Casey, and they tried to take it to court to like count these ballots. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court said, do not count those ballots. They are illegal ballots. They are not legitimate ballots. You cannot count them. And they are counting them anyway in a bunch of these places. And the election officials, one of them is quoted as saying like, well, people do illegal things all the time. No big deal. So and it's very close. It's like a few thousand votes. They could legitimately try and steal this Senate election, and they're doing it in broad daylight in the open and trying to change the balance of the U.S. Senate with this BS. And the Democrat has not conceded yet, by the way. Schumer was trying not to seat McCormick because the Democrat hadn't conceded. Everyone yelled at him after like the AP and the New York Times and everybody called this race.
So this is okay. So the race has been called, but now they're still processing ballots.
Yeah, they're processing ballots that the Pennsylvania Supreme Court told them not to process because they are not legitimate votes. And they're doing it anyway.
Pennsylvania have a governor?
Yeah, it's our buddy Shapiro there.
Right.
He doesn't want to get caught up in this, obviously, on either side because this is not good for him. But Pennsylvania, it's fascinating because Pennsylvania also had that scandal right before the election. Remember, they got caught with all those fake voter registrations that the guys, it was like a charity organization for voter get out the vote.
Right.
Had registered a bunch of false voter registrations in Pennsylvania at the last minute and tried to get a bunch of ballots counted that were not legitimate. It's like they have to, for the people who claim that there's like never any shenanigans with elections and how dare people, the fact that nobody is stepping in to do something about this, the fact that Merrick Garland went after Glenn Youngkin for daring to take people off the voter rolls who checked a box that said they weren't citizens. They went after him right before this election for that, but they're not stepping into what's going on in Pennsylvania, where people are legitimately saying they're defying a court order to not count these ballots in order to steal a U.S. Senate election, is astonishing. And I hope that when the Trump people get in there, whoever it is, if it's Matt Gaetz or whoever else, I hope they go after these election officials in Pennsylvania, because they should be in freaking jail right now.
This just goes to the establishment thing we've been talking about. There is an attorney general right now named Merrick Garland, I think.
He was very concerned about election integrity in Virginia.
And the Russians tampering, but nothing.
Yeah, no. I mean, if they are trying to sow doubt in election results, they are doing a great job. And I will say that a lot of Democrats have found a newfound distrust for election results and the security of voting machines. And in particular, a lot of them are on Blue Sky and are getting frustrated.
Hold on, Alice. We
should do the chat chat. We should do the chat chat, and we should then we'll talk more about Blue Sky and how that's going for all the liberals leaving Twitter in the Patreon show, which you can sign up for at patreon.com/burnbarrel. Of course, you can always listen to the main show for free at burnbarrelpodcast.com. There's links to different places to listen. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, all stuff like that.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Okay.
Here we go.
Habibis.
Hey.
I'm trying to wind down the gloating. It's difficult. Can we talk for a minute about my brothers and sisters in Michigan? The dumb, filthy left once again want to put us all in a bucket like other ethnic groups. They still can't realize we're not all illegal immigrants. Many of us aren't immigrants at all. Many of us are legal immigrants. Some of us have multi-generational families that have been Americans. For by and large, Middle Eastern people come to America for the same reasons that everybody else comes legally, to capture the American dream. I can say anecdotally, I don't have the stats for this, most legal Middle Eastern immigrants and citizens are small business owners and very high-level professionals and or aspire to be such. We're not all Palestinians. Some folks don't like the Palestinians at all. And most of us hate the terror regimes running through the Middle East. Filthy lefts couldn't understand that. Trump team went in and courted the Americans and the legal immigrants over there and shoved it up the behinds of the filthy left. And I'm so proud of my brothers and sisters. Love you. Bye.
There we go. Yeah, quite a showing. You knew that he had them. That when he was in Dearborn, hanging out, talking about coffee. When they said, "Do you like a coffee, sir?" He said, "Well, I actually don't drink coffee, but these are minor details." Because he was doing a campaign hit. The guy's just got talent.
Speaking of not drinking or eating stuff, did you see the photo of RFK Jr. on the plane?
Oh, yeah.
We should talk about that in the Patreon, too.
Yeah, that's a long story. Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
Hey, guys, two things. First, I'm not sure if you guys are considering putting out T-shirts, but maybe somewhere on the T-shirt, if you decide to do it, and I know you probably won't because you're so busy, you should have the catchphrase, "Oh, totally," because I feel like Tom says, "Oh, totally,"
really
at least a half a dozen times.
It does
every
sound
show,
familiar now that you say it.
It's absolutely funny when he does it for some reason, so just might be something to consider. And
that's such an 80s relic, too. Oh, my goodness. That is... Can't I be like... what's it, Noah Rothman and say sotto voce, which is not a real word. Like, I want to do that. I want to say a word that's deep, but does not really exist. Like sotto voce. Have you ever heard of sotto voce, Alice?
Isn't it mean in a low voice?
Doesn't matter.
Two, earmuffs, Alice, on this one.
Ooh.
Tom, you're trying to tell me that a young Tom Shattuck, or perhaps a single Tom Shattuck, would not be interested in Marjorie Taylor Greene if she made a pass at you? I mean, I know she's definitely not AOC. She's not Lauren Boebert.
He's scared of women that are stronger than
him.
Maybe
it's the crazy eyes. I don't know, but I'm willing to bet that a Tom Shattuck, let's say like if he was in his 20s, or 30s would not turn down Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Turn down? Yeah, if it's depending on when in the evening that was, but I do not. She does not do a thing for me. Give me AOC. Give me who's the little the anti-Semite, the little cute anti-Semite from Africa? Ilhan Omar.
Omar.
She's a cutie too. Obviously AOC. My goodness, and Kristi Noem. There's a
Nancy Mace. You like too.
Nancy Mace, Katie Britt. I like Vavavoom ladies pretty much. There's a loophole in there for a certain crazy thing. We're not going to talk. We don't have enough time to talk about it. But that's the whole world. She doesn't do it for me. I know Jerry Callahan loves MTG. Thinks she's like hot as hell. But it's not my thing. Sorry about that.
Hey guys.
Andy.
Andy in Cambridge, 5 minutes east of the Phoenix Landing. If somebody's calling you a male chauvinist pig,
yes.
The initials are not MSP, they're MCP. It's a spelling thing. Chauvinist is spelled with a C. Right? Keep up the good work. Love you guys.
Right,
Cheers.
Andy, that's right. And that's the whole point of it, is that for some reason, whatever I said in 5th or 6th grade, and we were at Camp Kirkland, and all the girls decided I was a male chauvinist pig, and they all called me MSP. And at first I didn't even. I just went with it. I said, okay, I guess so, because male chauvinist pig. And then my friend Chris, who was a nerd, who got me into Axis and Allies, was a great guy, Chris. He said, by the way, just so you know, Tom, chauvinist is with a C, so technically they're not saying it right. But I loved the idea, because to me it meant it just showed how vacuous these chicks are, who think they are astute because they know about feminism,
right?
But never bother to learn a thing. I'm being misogynist, is what I'm being, and I invite you to join in with me.
And you were not deterred by them calling you an MSP from your misogyny.
Oh no!
It did not. It did nothing to change your views of the women
not
involved.
At all. And let the record show. At the end of 6th grade, before we all matriculated, I was invited over to Tamara's house.
Okay.
Beautiful Victorian house, where a bunch of the girls and some guys. I can't believe I got invited. Somebody must have liked me. I just never knew. Were invited to play Spin the Bottle, and a couple of the guys, the girls refused to kiss whatsoever. I was not one of them.
Wow.
They just took one for the team and did kiss me. That's you know how low I am, Alice? I remember which ones did. They were 6th graders.
Let's remind our daughter never to play Spin the Bottle.
No kidding.
Hi, Steve from Merrimack.
Hey, Steve.
Tom, I didn't know if you noticed, but the commentary podcast is now being broadcast on YouTube.
Yes, I know.
And it gives you an opportunity to see what everybody looks like. And I tuned in to see Christine Rosen. And my expectations were that she was going to look like a female John Podhoretz or an old-time Italian widow, hunched over, whatever. But she's a babe. She's very attractive. And I have nothing else to say about it. But
Steve,
thank you.
Steve, you are correct about that. So let me tell you something. I found out that she was attractive only because Jonah Goldberg talked about her a few years ago and mentioned how beautiful she was. And then he had her on, and Jonah's a bit of a Lothario, I think. So what does Lothario mean?
Like someone who sleeps with lots of women.
He doesn't sleep. I don't know if he sleeps with them, but he likes chicks. Okay. And he in his intro couldn't help but mention it. And so then I looked her up a few years ago, and I was like, holy hell, she is a bombshell. She really is. And so, Steve, I have noticed that. I don't watch those guys because I don't want to. I just listen to people anyway. But you're right. Yeah. She's a gorgeous. Imagine. God, what a killer. Wonder if she logs stuff too, Alice. You think she logs things?
I don't know. Hack into all the apps and see if you can
Oh,
find
please,
it.
somebody, please, anonymous, please hack in to Alice Shattuck's details and please make those public, please. Can you imagine? What else do you tell him? Do you tell him the
I mean, not things you would want to know.
I don't believe you.
If I had period cramps.
That's not what we're talking about. You know it's not.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Not things you would want to know. I'm just tracking for my health.
Why does your health depend on a database logging your orgasm?
Well.
Please do our online mammogram. Okay.
Stop.
Well, go ahead.
It is for my health.
It is?
Yeah. That's healthy.
Well, it's like a physical thing, I guess.
It's healthy for me to have that, so it's good.
So it needs to know that. I'm sorry. So he needs to know that. Geez, some dude is buying this data. Oh my goodness! Do you realize what's happening? This is just for men in Kazakhstan to enjoy pleasure while they're getting your details.
I'm tracking my cycle.
That's not your cycle, Alice. Fine.
Habibi, speaking of the Michigan Arabs that voted for Trump, I think it was 2 days ago, we learned that the Iranian regime was going to launch a new attack against Israel, but they stopped it and put out a communication that they want to talk to Trump. I haven't seen it confirmed after those initial reports, but that's why the Michigan Arabs, in part, voted for Trump. And I also seem to recall a certain recent president who was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize before he became president for nothing.
Remember that?
I wonder if that's on the table now for our president-elect 47. Love you. Bye.
No, all these people.
That's actually a great.
It is
take,
a great
Leslie.
point. It is a great point, and like Trump could literally, like Ukraine could be at peace. The Middle East could be at peace. The whole world could give up their nuclear weapons because Trump told them to, and like lay down their arms and whatever, the whole thing, and sing around in a circle holding hands about how much they love each other, and Trump would still not get a Nobel Peace Prize.
No.
It does not matter what happens in the world. Trump is not going to get a Nobel Peace Prize.
World peace under Trump is not their definition of world peace.
No, Obama causing a gazillion wars and refugees all over the planet, that's Nobel Peace Prize worthy.
Alice, you got to stop with the pessimism about Tulsi and Christie.
It's a replica Shattuck, by the way.
Oh.
We wouldn't be doing the same thing to you if, like if Madison Cawthorn got in there, or, this Pete guy, or, hey, if Bill Melugin got in there, I would not be calling the podcast and raining on you.
Such a great point. That is such a great point. Oh, you'd be in. Oh, are you somehow thinking that app info?
I've been thinking about if Bill Melugin might be appointed, actually.
Do you think that app info gets to Bill Melugin?
No.
And actually does it?
No.
Do you print out the spreadsheet and send it to him?
No.
Your parade saying this is a bad pick. People are going to think this is a bad pick. I would just let you have it. Hell, even Tom said he would be thinking about Pete when you guys are, up to no good.
Yep.
Maybe
Do you log that?
No.
Do you think about?
No.
Are you sure?
I think about you because we're together.
Okay. Oh, right. Yeah.
Pessimism could go for.
By the way, let the record show. I caught her doing this. She didn't volunteer this.
No.
Check your wives, guys.
On the 1570 project, which according to my calculations is about 3 weeks outside of a 2-year hiatus. Sounds like a good place to have that kind of
correct.
Talk.
Well said, Replica.
Good day.
Replica, you need to end every message with good day.
Okay.
Hi, Steve from Merrimack.
Hey, Steve.
Now that she is officially 0 for 2, can we now dispense with the Carrie Lake experiment? I find her to be completely, wholly unlikable. She's just too much. And what's not helping is the fact she's running around with Ally McGraw's haircut from 1978 in the movie Convoy. I don't think guys like her. I mean, I don't know. I guess if I lived in Arizona, I would be forced to vote for her. but I can't take it. Anyway, I'm praying Trump doesn't give her a job. I'm praying.
He's going to give her a
Thank you.
job. She's got a certain dominatrix thing that I kind of like. She's also got the voice of a girl we went to high school with who had a really smoky, lovely voice named Kathy Green. Alice, you may remember her.
Tom, why don't you tell Alice that you eat a jar of relish every single day?
That is incorrect. I do not eat a thing of relish every single day. Unspeakable things happen food-wise around me. There's no doubt about that. Relish is not one of them. Alice loves relish more than I do.
I do like relish,
yeah,
actually.
Which is it's got to be dill relish. It can't be like a sweet relish. But there is a place for it. I can't believe how English is that. Pickled cucumbers on your hotted dog.
I like relish. I like pickles. I refuse to apologize for it.
Did you put that in the app? No?
No.
Mm-hmm.
But I do. I mean, I track what I eat.
Uh-huh. Bet you do.
If you want to stay on, if you're on Patreon, you can stay there because we're going to do the Patreon show. We have more to get to. We have to talk RFK Jr. eating Big Macs and everything else that's going on in the world. So join us on the other side if you want to listen for free, burnbarrelpodcast.com.
C'est la vie.